Welcome, everyone. This is Diane Sharp here in Philadelphia. I'm the Director of Admissions for the Philly campus. And with me today are Tammy Carter, who is the Associate Director of Financial Aid, and Alicia Rodgers, who's the Admissions and Events Coordinator here in Philadelphia. We are letting Barb and Gwen take the morning off since this is on the early side for them. They've entrusted with us to do this webinar for you. But I know if you have any questions, they're happy to have you reach out. So Tammy is going to walk you through a PowerPoint. Please, along the way, do not hesitate to post any questions that come up there in that discussion portal, and we will post them to Tammy. Tammy, thanks.
Good morning, everyone. This is Tammy, and I will be giving you a brief overview of how to finance your MBA. The first topic I will speak on would be cost of attendance. Then we'll talk about financing resources. Then we'll talk about educational loans that's available to you at this particular time. Post-matriculation, just some tips that you need to keep in mind. And finally, the next steps. First, I want to talk about the cost of attendance. For the first semester, what will happen is you will be billed each term. For the first term, you'll be billed $33,100 minus your deposit. So you'll see that reflected on your bill. In the fall semester, as well as the spring, you'll be billed again $33,100 each term. And tuition is actually due at the beginning of each term. So, and I'll talk about that a little bit more once we talk about the different loan programs. If for any reason you decide to take a GMC, one of the global modular courses, you can get a budget increase for that. So if that's the case, just let me know and we'll work from there. Next thing I want to talk about is funding sources. For my military guys that's out there, guys and gals that's out there, we will, I can talk a little bit about the post 9/11. The first payment, well, first let me back up. The first thing you need to do is actually turn in your certificate of eligibility. That will actually start the process. Once that information is received, I work directly with someone over in Student Financial Services, and we'll make sure that we are in contact with the government so that your payments will actually come through. Now, the way the payments are actually structured is for the academic year, you'll receive $21,970 in payments, and that amount will actually, and that's an estimate amount. We haven't gotten the figures for this upcoming year, so I'm estimating that it's going to be about $21,000. And that payment will actually hit your fall term account. So you'll see that reflected on your bill as well. Then we have Yellow Ribbon. There's a Yellow Ribbon program that what happens is Wharton matches the VA. So there would be an additional $10,000 per academic year that will be applied to your account as well, provided that you're 100% eligible for the under the 9/11 GI Bill. And payments will go to your fall semester, so you'll see $10,000 for the fall, and then an additional $10,000 for the spring semester. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is student loan options. I want you to be aware that there are several options available to you. For our U.S. citizens and permanent resident students, the first loan is the federal direct loan. You can borrow up to $20,500. It's at a fixed rate, currently at 5.31%, as well as the federal Grad Plus loan, which is at an interest rate of 6.31%. Now, on the federal direct loan for $20,500, there is a 1% origination fee. Just keep in mind on the federal Grad Plus loan, there's a 4.272 origination fee. And basically, the government takes that amount off the top of your loan prior to the actual disbursements. For the federal Grad Plus loan, there's no aggregate amount that you can that you're permitted to apply for. So you can borrow up to your standard budget for the 2 years that you're here at Wharton. Okay. With the federal loans, they offer income-based repayment and public service cancellation. So I tell students all the time, if they know that they may have a problem with making their payments or something may come up, and for public service, if you're going into nonprofit, the federal direct loans are available to you because they're much more flexible. The federal loans, of course, can be consolidated, but we do not recommend consolidation until after you graduate. Now, there are also private loans available to students. They're federal. They're at some are at a fixed rate. Some are based on prime and LIBOR. So anytime there's an increase in prime or LIBOR, the interest rate will move a little. Okay. The fixed rates, variable can range anywhere from 2.87% up to 10%. And just keep in mind that these loans are credit-based, so they will actually run a credit check on you, and depending upon your debt as well as how frequent you make your payments, they will consider that as well. In some cases, there are origination fees for these private lenders. And again, there's no aggregate amount, no limit. You can borrow up to your standard budget. With these private lenders, there's standard repayment plans as well. And there's also consolidation programs available as well with these private lenders. For international students, we have 2 loan products that's available to you. The first one is Quorum Federal Credit Union. In your case, you can borrow up to 80% of your first year budget. There is a 1% origination fee that's actually added to that as well. And the current interest rate on this particular loan is at 8%. Funds with all of your loans will be sent to the university first, and then anything, all these funds will actually be applied to your account. They allow anywhere from 20 to 25 years for repayment, and it really depends on your principal balance. And an example would be if you borrow $40,000 or less, your payments will be based on 20 years. Anything above that will be based on 25 years. Prodigy Finance is another loan program that's strictly for international students as well. You can borrow up to 90% of your first year budget. There is a 0% origination fee, and the current interest rate is at 5.75 fixed with 3 months LIBOR. So just keep that in mind. So looking at the difference between the two, of course, Prodigy Finance is at a much lower rate. And again, funds are always sent to the university. They're applied to your account. And Prodigy, unlike Quorum, allows you up to 10 years in repayment versus 20 years with Quorum. So that's something to actually think about when choosing which lender you want to apply for.
Tammy, I do have a question or two sent in advance, and I think they're related to these slides, so I can go ahead and shoot them to you.
Of course.
I understand that for federal loans, there is a grace period on repayment until after graduation, but interest still accrues during the time that we are in school. Are most private sector education loans also structured this way?
Yes. With the private lenders, they offer a 6-month grace period as well. The interest is accruing upon your first disbursement, but they also do allow your 6-month grace period, and then at that point, you will actually go into repayment.
Great. One other, is there an income maximum to access the Federal Direct Grad Plus and Federal Direct loans, or are they available to all since they are not subsidized?
Every student, every domestic or permanent resident student is eligible to apply for the federal loan programs. The only difference is the maximum on the Federal Direct is $20,000 versus the Grad Plus, which is up to your budget. With private lenders, they can actually borrow up to your budget as well. So the difference is just that with the private lenders, they want you to pay off your loan sooner rather than later. Unlike the federal government, they allow anywhere from 10 to 20 years for repayment.
So there's no income maximum.
There's it's not based on, it's not income based at all.
Great, thanks.
Okay? Sure. Okay, there's another lender that we offer, which is Southeast Bank. It's a global selection MBA loan program. You can borrow up to $100,000 minus any financial aid that you're getting, which in most cases there is none. There's a 2% origination fee, and the current interest rate is 8.27 plus 3 months LIBOR. This loan product is something that I truly don't recommend because of the interest rate, but it's a loan product that's available, so we have to disclose any information that we get as loan programs available to students. The loan funds, again, are always sent to the school, and they allow you up to 15 years for repayment. But again, the interest rate is at 8.27, so you want to consider that as well. Okay. Private lenders, you can borrow up to the cost of attendance. The interest rate, again, varies anywhere from 2.87% up to 10%. A cosigner is not required. I'm sorry, a cosigner is required for some of the private lenders, and whichever lender that you actually apply for, they will reach out to tell you whether or not they recommend a cosigner. Origination fees vary with the private lenders. It can be anywhere from 1% up to 3 or 4%. So keep that in mind as well when shopping around. And again, you can borrow up to the cost of attendance with these lenders, and it's standard repayment plan only, which means that the lender will actually will base your repayments on the amount that you actually owe.
We have a question here regarding the Prodigy product. Someone found that on their website, it says that they can't loan to anyone who has worked in the U.S. for 7 consecutive years. Is there an exception to that?
What I recommend you to do is actually reach out to me, and then I will contact our representative from Prodigy and confirm that information.
Great. Yeah, and Tammy's got her contact information on the last slide.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about post-matriculation. For those that's going into nonprofit, there's a Bindum loan forgiveness program that is something that you may want to consider if that is the case. Some students will apply. It has to be 5 years out. So once you graduate, you can actually apply to this loan forgiveness program, up to 5 years. Some students, it's very competitive. I do want to tell you that. But there are students that receive up to $20,000 from this loan program every year. And what happens is if you are awarded this loan forgiveness program, the $20,000 or whatever the amount is actually sent to your lender. So any time that you have outstanding loans, this money will go directly to your loans and basically pay them down. So no, the money does not come to you directly. The money will go towards paying off your loans. So that's something, after you graduate to actually think about. And their website is listed in case you have any additional questions or just want to look and see what's available. Okay, let's talk a little bit about next steps. Because these loan programs, loan products that we offer, they are credit-based. You want to take a look at your credit report. Credit Karma is one that I tend to refer to students to make sure that there are nothing negative actually on your credit report. Because again, these loan products do run a credit report, and you want to make sure that there's nothing will be surprising. Take a look at your personal resources. I get all the time students coming in or calling me, asking me, okay, I have some extra funds available. What should I do? I tell them, again, look at your personal resources. Personally speaking, if I have money available, I will borrow less loans, but that's a personal option. And that's something that if you want to talk about in more detail, you can always give me a call and we can actually discuss it, and I'll go over the pros and cons. Review the financial aid website, because all the information that I presented to you today is actually on the website. And if you have any questions, please feel free at any given time to either email me or give our office a call.
We have another question here. This is regarding the Quorum product. At what point can we apply? They mentioned next year's window will open after April 24th. Also, since they pay 80%, at what point do we pay the 20%? Is it total up front each semester?
Quorum's website will be opening up probably within the next couple of weeks. And what happens is at that point in time, you can actually go into the system and actually apply. Because they only allow up to 80%, any funds that you apply for will come in 3 different disbursements. So what happens is they'll send the first disbursement to the school, and then any remaining balance is your responsibility to actually pay, because Quorum is only going to allow up to 80%. And just keep in mind that if you are applying for loans and your loans will actually cover your tuition balance, what you need to do is let your class manager know that you are working with me, and then I'll work directly with that individual to let them know that you have loans pending, therefore your payment is not due, provided that it's going to cover your outstanding balance.
Yeah, that's related to another question we have. Someone asked, is it possible to set up my tuition bill so that it goes to another payer as well as me? Who do we contact for this? So this is your class manager as well. So on the East Coast, it would be Diane Harvey or John Nolan. Good to just CC them both on everything. They back each other up. And on the West Coast, it's going to be Juana Dressler and Ala Feldman. So they will, you tell them who you want to get the bill or how many people and the different addresses and when. So they are your first line of help when it comes to getting those bills out, and they're in constant contact with financial aid, and they know that if you've got a loan in process, they understand that whole how that works and how that unfolds. All right, so that's what the presentation entails, but I want to give you guys a little bit of time to post any other questions. And just for your information, we are going to, this has been recorded, we are going to post it on the Welcome websites, and we will send it out to you as a link. So the question is, who are the West Coast contacts for billing? So that would be Juana Dressler and Ala Feldman. Juana will be your class manager, and Ala is her support. So you can get their contact information either on the Welcome website or within my Wharton community.
Diane, can I just say one thing? I just want to let you guys know that your bill is due the first day of class. And please, if for any reason there's something that's not clear or you're not sure of the process, please contact me directly via email, or you can give me a call. I don't want you to go into another semester with having an outstanding balance, because at times it's very difficult to get your finances in order, and then you'll be assessed a late fee, which is not something that you want to have happen to your account. So please, again, I cannot stress it enough that you do not want to go into another semester with a carryover balance. Whatever problems you're having, concerns, it's worth a phone call.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're at the point where you guys all start in May, which gives the Tammy and Jeff and Lakeisha, who you see there on the screen, time to help you guys out, because the full-time MBAs, all 850 times 2 will start in the summer. So take advantage of that. We do have a couple other questions that are posted. Do we begin the FAFSA process now? Yes.
This is the time of year that you actually can do start the process for the FAFSA form. So what you want to do is go to, the information is actually on the website, but studentloan.gov is the actual website for your FAFSA form. That site, you want to complete your FAFSA form, even if you're thinking about applying for a private lender. A FAFSA form is required this year. This is something new that the federal government decided that they want all students to complete. So you will need to actually do the FAFSA form no matter what, except for international students.
Yep, and one person noted that when they started the process, there was a different tuition amount than the current one. The current one that you just saw on the slide and that is on our site and on our the Welcome website now is for the 2017 to 2019 class. The one that had been there up until about a week or two ago was for the class that started in 2016 through 2018.
And just one thing about the FAFSA form and tuition, the FAFSA form is kind of like a generic application. That's not the application itself for the loan. It's just to start the process. It's a required form. So even if the tuition was a little bit different when you apply, the tuition is set, and once your application is received by the school, they will base it on the current tuition costs that's on the system.
And do you know how long it takes after the FAFSA is submitted to hear back?
Once you submit your FAFSA form, the government will let you know that your information has been processed and sent to the university. Unfortunately, the loan office will not start processing until maybe the third or fourth week of May. So I can tell you guys now, no need to worry, is provided that you're applying for loans to cover your outstanding balance, that your money will not hit your account until more than likely sometime early June.
Yep, and these are very experienced class managers as well as the financial aid team, so they always know there's a little bit of a lag there because of the timing of our program. Is FAFSA still applicable for new immigrants who aren't getting federal loans?
No, you have to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident in order to qualify for the FAFSA form. Again, those are federal loans, and they have that policy. You must be a U.S. citizen.
Great. It looks like the questions have come to an end. If something comes to your head, your mind after we log off here, don't hesitate to reach out to the financial aid team with their information there by phone or by email. Or if it's a class-related issue, please reach out to us on the East or West Coast. All right, everybody, we really look forward to seeing you guys. If you have any other questions about the program, let us know. All right, we'll send this recording out to you soon.